So what is up, Africana fam? It's your girl Young Africana back at it again with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to highlight and contour like a pro. Whether if you are a beginner, intermediate that's looking to change up their routine and learn a little different technique on how to do their highlight and contour, for whoever, this video is rated E for everyone. Alright, so if you are ready to watch this detailed tutorial on how I evolutionized my face from being a flat potato to a dimension mommy, I will explain to you guys the placement of highlighting and contour, what is a highlight and contour in general, and what shades to use as well. All the nitty-gritty details that you are fiending to know, I have it in this video. So if you want to learn all these tips and tricks and secrets, then keep on watching. And let's get on to the next look now. So what I'm quickly going to do is I'm going to do my foundation off camera just so we can kind of get straight into the video on how I highlight and contour. So BRB. Alright you guys, so I just put on my foundation. I finished touching up on my foundation and also my eyebrows. And now it's on to the highlight and contour. I'm gonna teach y'all how to highlight and contour and what the meanings of those two are. To highlight, it's to pretty much brighten or to bring out the areas that you want to bring out, and to contour is to bring shadows and depth into your face. So for the highlight, because we're trying to bring it out and brighten it, we are going to be using a lighter shade. Now usually for me, I like to use about 2 shades or maybe even 3, depending on how bright I want to go, but probably 2 to 3 shades lighter than my actual skin tone. And you also just want to make sure that the undertones of your concealer or your highlight matches the undertones of your actual skin color. So for my own personal skin tone, I am more on the neutral side. I am not too red, nor I am too golden, but I'm also not too cool toned either. I like to use a pretty neutral concealer, or sometimes a little bit more on the warmer side, just to bring warmth into my face, because I do not want to look like a corpse, okay? So if you are a neutral gal like me, I like to go either neutral with the concealer or neutral with a hint of warmth, okay? And the concealer that I personally like to use is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer to highlight, and this is in the color Toffee. Now when we are highlighting, I like to go underneath my eyes and also in the T-zone area. So your T-zone area is literally just your forehead and also the bridge of your nose. So I like to go underneath my eyes, I like to go on the bridge of my nose and also my forehead, and then I do a little peak over here on my chin, and then also my mustache a little bit, just to kind of like, get rid of the darkness around my lips as well. When it comes to highlighting and contouring, you're just pretty much just creating dimensions and also creating different forms of light on your face. So you want to create lights and shadows onto your face. So we're going to start off with the light first, and we're going to highlight the areas that I've already pointed out where I'm going to highlight. Now placement is very, very, very key when it comes to highlighting your face, you guys. So for me, overall, the look that I'm going for is super snatched. I want my face to kind of come upwards. I don't want my face to droop down or anything. So your placement is super key. So the last thing you want to do if you were looking for that facelift effect or just a lifted face is for you to drag your concealer down. So usually sometimes I would see girls probably just do like a big old triangle over here, right here, and bring it all the way down their cheeks. If you're looking for a lifted face, I would suggest you not to, because again, you're creating light, so meaning that you're exposing that area more, and the last thing you want is to expose yourself to be having droopy cheeks. Like, that's not really a look, or the look that you're trying to go for if you're trying to do a face lifted look. So for me, what I like to do is I like to keep my concealer literally above my cheekbones, just to create that face lifted look, and to also drag out my concealer towards my temples. I'm going to apply a little bit over here, and also be mindful that a little goes a long way. I like to apply the concealer near my tear duct right there, just very short and simple, and then a little bit at the edge of my eyes, and then drag out the concealer. And the reason why I kind of neglect the middle part is, again, you don't want too much product in the middle or just product underneath your eye period, because that's how you're going to end up having creases underneath your eye. And as we are blending this part out, the product will literally move over here. Like, you don't need all that product on your face. And this is just working smarter, not harder, and to save you product, but to also make sure that your face doesn't look super cakey or crease. We don't want that at all. So I'm gonna do the same thing underneath this eye. Again, near your tear duct, just a little bit. Again, you want to keep it above your actual cheekbones, way above your cheekbones, if you're looking for a face lifted look. And then, so boom, there we have it for underneath our eyes. Now, I told y'all, I'm going to do a little bit over here. I want to create a little bit of light on my chin. Also cover up the darkness on my actual lips or above my lips. Now, for me, again, placement is kind of key for the nose as well too. If you know that you already have a long nose, or you don't want to highlight that you have a long nose, what I like to do is I like to do an exclamation point, right? Which is pretty much, I'm going to place a dot right here, literally like so, like this. And then I'm going to make sure I create a space between the concealer and my foundation, and then drag it up just like so. And literally what this does is it stops your nose from looking long. In a sense, we're going to use the contour to fill it out, so you'll have like that button nose effect versus you just having an elongated nose with no end point, in a sense. So if you have a short nose and you want to highlight like so and like just bring it all the way down, you can. But if you know that you don't want to elongate your nose, literally do this method and it will stop your nose from looking extremely long, because it actually kind of has like an end point, and you will end up contouring around your nose as well too. You're gonna see what I'm talking about after I'm done. So now onto the forehead area. As you can see, I got a little happy and kind of already started. So for me, I like to go ahead and not highlight too much. Now, if you want the illusion of a bigger forehead, you can go ahead and kind of just shade in and go crazy. But if you know that you got a big old Rihanna forehead, let me stop. If you know you got a big forehead, you don't want to highlight that necessarily. I want you to keep this highlight very short and more closer to your brows. So I'm going to show you guys, because I don't like my forehead to look that big because I already kind of have a big forehead. I'm literally going to create a crescent and kind of follow the shape of my forehead to create this shape. And again, we're keeping it very small. And the wider that you bring it out, or the taller you bring it out, is how wide your forehead is going to be, or how tall your forehead is going to be. If you know that you want your forehead to be more condensed and centered, keep it exactly where you want it to be, in the center, not too high and not too wide. Now, if you want your forehead to look bigger, or you know you have a small forehead, you want your forehead to appear bigger, you can apply your highlight to expose and open up and brighten up your forehead even more. So the key to having a flawless highlight and for it to be super duper full coverage is for you to leave it on for about 2 minutes, I would say, depending on the consistency and also how well or how wet your concealer is. If your concealer is super wet, I'll probably suggest 2 to 5 minutes to just kind of leave it on, let it sit in your face a little bit, just so that you're not spreading out your concealer past your guidelines that you created, and also too that you just have a more full coverage look. So right now I'm going to leave that on, which is why I like to do this first, and I'm going to go into doing the contour. My favorite contour shade that I like to use is my Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer, and this is in the color Spaced. Now, I love using this to contour, and with this, it has a wide applicator. So instead of me actually just using the product and putting it on my face, I like to go in with a small brush. Now, the brush that I'll be using to apply my contour is the Morphe M421 brush. This is like a rounded shader brush that I like to use, and I'm just going to use it to apply my contour. So again, your contour kind of just creates hollows and shadows into your actual face. Usually some people actually do use cooler toned colors or cooler toned bronzers or contours just to create shadows, because shadows are usually dark and cooler. But if you're looking for more of a bronzed type of look, you can go a bit warmer. Mine is like in between. It's not too warm, but it's also not too cool either. So it's just right in between. So right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my brush. I'm going to, you know, get it wet on both sides. And again, we want to create some hollows and some shadows. So again, for me, I personally don't want my forehead to look super big, so I'm going to use the contour to kind of outline the highlight. So most times your contour is placed around the perimeters, or like, you know, around the perimeters of your actual highlight. It'll always end up like bordering your highlight and stuff. So I'm going to apply it at the edges of my forehead. Again, we're going to create those shadows. And now, because we're kind of like going for, again, a lifted look, I'm going to leave this temple area open, because I'm going to drag it out and it'll kind of like defeat the purpose of me doing the facelift effect if I have a contour in this area right here, your temples, right here. So we're going to leave this bare over here and we're just going to bring it out. Now, when it comes to carving out your contour around your cheekbones, you want, if you're looking for a lifted look, you want to place your contour like higher than the actual hollows of your cheek. So go like this. Notice how your hollows kind of start, well, my hollows start from here. Notice how my hollows start from here, but I don't want to place it over here because I don't want it to be super low and again drag out my face. I want a lifted look, so I'm going to actually place it a bit higher than my actual hollows of my cheeks. I know a lot of people use that as their guideline. If you're looking for more of an elongated look, you can do that, but for me, I'm looking more for a lifted look, so I want my contour to be close, if not next to my actual highlight. So I'm going to place it right near the apples of my cheeks. Just like that. And we're gonna just bring it down a little bit. And again, we're leaving the temple area open. All right, boom. Now the most important part of this highlight is the nose. I know everybody be wanting a snatch nose. Like, I know everybody wants that snatch nose. So I'm gonna give it to y'all. I'm gonna teach y'all how to get a snatch nose. So simply what you're going to do is you're just going to outline your highlight. And again, which is why placement is key. If you notice that your highlight is a little bit too wide, you want to kind of go in with your contour to kind of make it make your highlight a lot, you know, smaller, just so that the bridge of your actual nose appears smaller. So again, all this is just smoke and mirrors. It's just illusions. So we're just creating the illusion of a smaller nose. So if you want a smaller nose, your highlight has to be small, okay? It gotta be small. And if you feel like it's too wide or you feel like you apply too much, you can just simply just go in with your contour and kind of go in with it to make it look smaller. And I'm going to just use the tip of it. Now for me, I like to go into my eyebrows and come down. So I'm going to show you right now. I like to start in my eyebrows. And again, this just creates the shadows and depths of like your eyes. It also just kind of give you more of a polished look when it comes to your makeup, and it just looks together overall versus you just starting right here, because in a sense your natural curve of your nose do start into your eyebrows. So I'm going to start in my eyebrows. I like to kind of start where like my hairs start to get sparse at. This is where I like to kind of start my contour. And I'm just gonna follow the natural shape of like my nose. Okay, and now I'm going to do the other side. Boom. All right, now that we got that situated, right? Now we are going to literally follow right against your highlight. Again, if you want to make your highlight look smaller, you want your nose, the bridge of your nose to look smaller, you could kind of go in a little bit more. But we are going to do this right next to the highlight. Just like so. And with this part, you want to make sure you're taking your time with it. You don't want to feel like you're messing up. So we're going to stop right here. And now we're going to create the button of our nose. And this will literally cut your nose in half. You're going to see how I'm going to do that, right? So what we're going to do is going to literally just outline our highlight right here. We're going to give ourselves some dimension underneath our nose. Just like so. Boom. And then boom. Okay. And now to cut that off and to create the button, we're just going to go right across. And as y'all can see, this is how the highlight and contour looks. Now, I know I look like a face diagram right now, and it's looking a little bit crazy, but we're going to clean it up and we're going to blend it out. But before we even move on, this is how you should be looking like. It's not going to be exactly like mine, depending on your face. Remember, again, if you're trying to create it to be more elongated, your concealer will probably come a little bit more lower. Your contour will come a little bit more lower if you're looking for more of that, you know, elongated face look. But if you're looking for a facelift like me, this is how it should look. Alright, as I can see, these are the finished results, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Now let me stop. Alright, so now on to the fun part. We're going to blend. So before we start blending, as y'all can see, this has been sitting on my face for some time because I have been explaining to y'all how this go down. So to rejudge your face with this, you know, dry concealer and dry contour we got in our face, we're going to be using our setting spray to kind of like, you know, bring back life into this mess. And this is also just super important if you want like a flawless face, and if you just want your face to last longer, definitely go in with a setting spray before you blend it out and also before you apply your powder. And I did want to mention before that usually when you do your makeup, I know there's no rules to the makeup game, but usually when you do use your makeup, you always use a liquid first and a powder to set. So you need your liquid first to, you know, as the foundation, and then the powder is to set the foundation. So as you guys can see, I use liquid products on my face to create the foundation. I'm going to blend it out and then go in with a powder to set our foundation. I'm going to go in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, and I'm going to spray my face to kind of reduce this face and give it, you know, life, so this concealer can actually move when we blend it. And be very generous. Don't be scared, girl. Spray it up. Now, my favorite brush to use when it comes to blending out my concealer is my Ulta Beauty Precision Foundation brush. This right here will get the job done, okay? And I like to go in and blend out my concealer first, or my highlight first, before I go in and blend out the contour. So, you just want to go in a patting motion, like so. And when you're patting it, try not to go outside of the guideline you already gave yourself. So don't drag out your concealer. Literally keep it in the same exact spot and just keep on patting it with patting motions. Like that. Okay. Now, when it comes to up here, I like to go back into my foundation brush, and I like to blend out the edges of the concealer first. And doing this just helps kind of like the concealer marry it helps the concealer to marry into the foundation. So as y'all can see, now it's kind of like evenly blended out. And I'm going to go back into the Precision foundation brush and then just kind of blend out the rest of that. Just like so. And notice how even though the eyes were my first thing to tackle down when it came to highlighting, I am leaving it for last because that's the area that I need for it to be the most opaque or the most full coverage. Now, when it comes down to the nose area, I definitely like to go in with a smaller buffer brush just to, again, keep the integrity of the shape of the concealer that I created. So I'm going in with my Morphe, ooh, the numbers is gone, M171. I still read it though, it's gone, but I still read it. And I'm going to just use that to blend out just the concealer part. And you're just gonna do light taps. Just extremely light taps. And then also the button of my nose. And don't worry if it looks a mess now. Once we blend out the contour, everything's gonna come into form. Right? So now we're going to blend out our under eye. And again, just gonna go in patting motions. I see that? Like it's giving Chanel bags wear? Oh, I thought. So right now we have our highlight completely blended out. We're gonna go in and do some revision, of course. We always gotta do some revisions now. This is not the full product yet, but as you can see, it's starting to blend out really seamlessly and we're getting that full coverage that we're looking for. So now on to blending the contour. I'm going to be using my Real Techniques 200 brush, and this is the Expert Face brush. Now, when it comes to this, right, we have to be very particular, okay? Like we said, we want to keep the integrity of the shape and the foundation you have already created. We do not want to drag out anything. So literally over here, what we are going to do is we're going to blend up instead of bringing it down. Because when you do it, you bring it down, you start dragging it downwards, and we don't want that. And you kind of want to kind of like pat upwards, but also pat to bring it into the concealer as well. Boom. Now as for this one, we are going to drag this part down. And the reason why we want to do that, we're going to drag it up and down. We want it to kind of marry into the foundation, but also more importantly the concealer, so that there's like no lines of demarcation. So we're going to slightly bring it into the concealer, because again, we're looking for that small forehead effect. Y'all see that? Y'all starting to see it come into shape and form, okay, hunty? Y'all see that? Y'all see what's going on. Y'all see what's going on, okay? And when it comes to this part of your contour, you want to blend it into your actual concealer a little bit, but also into your hairline. So again, there's no lines of demarcation. So we're blending it up and a little bit down. Now on to blending the nose contour. I'm going to use a small blending brush, and this is my Morphe E17 brush, and we're going to keep the integrity still. And we're going to blend it into the eyebrows, making sure that everything is nice and blended. And everything's just patting motions. Everything is patting motions. We're going to just pat, pat, pat. And I like to drag down the contour a little bit over here in this section, just so that it's not just a single line, but it's actually like an actual shadow. And I'm going to do the same over here. Blend it into the eyebrows. And I'm just doing patting motions. Now on to the finishing touches of this. We are going to go back into our foundation brush. And yes, I said foundation brush. We're going to now go into the beginning and the ending of like the contours and the highlights, and we're going to literally just marry them all together. And this will just kind of help you have like that foolproof look. Y'all see that? Before it was like super duper highlighted and like obvious between the contour and the highlight, but now it's not because I used my leftover foundation. And I'm gonna do this everywhere. Right here. Huge difference. This will be a game changer. Go back in with your foundation brush. It is okay to second check your work. All right, y'all, the face is coming to form. We love it here, we love it here, we love it here. All right, so now on to the powder. Like I said earlier, you gotta set your liquids with your powders, okay? It's just a must. Like, it just go together real bad. All right, so to do this, before we apply the powder, I kind of just want to rejuve my face again because it just gives you like the most flawless look. So we're gonna go back into the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray, and I'm just going to spray this face, okay? Boom. Ooh. Again, it's giving wet, it's giving dewy, it's giving Baywatch, just came out the water. But yeah. All right. So I'm going to slightly press in that spray into my skin before we go into our powder really quick, right? So that like there's no droplets or anything on my face before I apply the powder, because it will show if you got a droplet on your face. You either remove it or pat it down and you put on the powder. It's not a good look. Now for powder, I like to go in with my Huda Beauty. This is the Huda Beauty Loose Setting Powder in the color Cinnamon Bun. So for me, my holy grail of applying my powder onto my face is using a powder puff. I got this off of Amazon. It was like probably like $8 and it came in like a 10-pack. You could definitely get this. I like to use the tip part of it just to kind of get into the creases and crevices. But let me stop talking and let's get into it. So I'm just going to apply a little bit onto the powder puff, not too much. And I'm going to start off with underneath my eyes first because that's where it creases first. And I'm just going to lightly just kind of press the powder in first before I, apply extra. So again, you literally want to set the powder and not let it sit on your skin. So press that powder into your skin before you actually start the baking process, which is just kind of like having excess powder on top of your skin to give you that brightening effect. Y'all see that? Boom. And now on to the rest of the face that I highlighted. So for the powder, I'm only applying it on the highlighted areas. This loose powder is only for the highlighted areas. And you do want to make sure that your loose powder matches like the concealer that you use, or just make sure it's a couple of shades or 2 to 3 shades lighter than your actual skin tone as well. And Cinnamon Bun is perfect for my dark skin girlies to give you a highlighted look without you looking ghostly. And now onto the nose. Again, using the tip. You want to make sure that you're keeping the integrity of the shape while applying the powder too. So when I get to the bridge of the nose, I kind of like to turn this sideways a little bit and just gently press down so it follows the shape of the highlight, just like that. Now for me, I like to chisel out my nose extra. So I'm going to just apply some on the sides of the puff and just kind of like outline my nose even more, just so the highlight and the contour between the nose is more prominent, and yeah, the nose just look extra snatched, y'all. Like, that's just the real explanation. You want your nose to look extra snatched. So now on to the contour. My favorite bronzer slash contour palette that I like to use on my face is my Juvias Place bronzer in the color Deep Dark. And for me, I'm going to be using the darkest shade in this palette, and I'm going to be using my Morphe E4 brush. This is like a shaded or like a slanted powder brush. This is perfect for contour and if you're looking for that extra chiseled look. Okay, so again, we're following the same shape and the same format of how we did our liquid. What I'm doing is I'm using the slanted part downward on my face but bringing it up. And now onto the nose, I am going into my Morphe E62 brush. And this is like a pretty much a smaller version of that powder brush. But for my nose, I'm going into that same Juvias Place Deep Dark palette. And I'm going to just apply that into my nose. And again, you're literally just following the same format like how you did for your liquid. And as you guys can see, as I'm bringing it into like my eyebrows, it is creating that nice dimension that we're looking for. And it's creating depth in our face and also in our eyes as well. So I really like to really focus into the eyebrow part because that's what's really going to make your makeup look together. Now if you're looking for an extra chiseled look, I usually don't do this, but I'm going to show you guys this just if you're looking for an extra chiseled look. They like to do a reverse contour underneath the actual contour of the hollows of their cheek just to really give that sharpness and that. So I actually don't use concealer for this part because this part can get pretty tricky and can also make you look a little bit strong in the face if you do with both liquid and a powder. That's just my personal opinion. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just apply a little bit of my powder with the powder buff, and I'm just going to follow the lines. As you can see, it's giving me that really chiseled look. So if you're looking for a chiseled look, you could go ahead and do this, but if you don't, you can skip this part. And also when you're doing this part, you also kind of want to make sure that you're kind of curving up where the apples of your cheeks are. I know I look crazy right now, but trust the process, please. Por favor, okay? But one of the last things that I now am going to do in this process is to bring life into my face. Not saying that my face doesn't have life, but it could have a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie. And girls, especially my dark skin babies, don't be afraid of blush. It is 2023. They finally made blush that actually matched our skin color and not that pink pale stuff they was trying to make us wear before. Okay, so yes, I'm gonna go in with my Juvias Place. This is probably the best place to get your blushes from. This is the Juvias Place Blush Rougie in the color Volume 1. And I'm going to use the orange because orange and berry shades, which both of these are probably the best for our skin tones. So I'm going into the orange shade. I'm going to smile like this and then apply it on the apples of my cheeks. And do y'all see how warm my face looks now that I apply that onto my face? And now on to the finale. We are going to clean up our face using our Loreal Paris Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation in a powder. And this is in the color 375, y'all. This bad boy right here will have your face looking together. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use my powder brush. This is my Morphe E41 brush. I like to go ahead and press it in. And we're now just going to apply that all over my face and just pat that in. And this literally brings and ties in the look together. So to add the extra pizzazz, I'm going to go into my Anastasia Beverly Hills highlighter in the color Amrezy. Well, this is the Amrezy highlighter. And I like to go in with my Morphe M213 brush. It's a really, really small, like almost like a pointer shader brush. It's really, really tiny. And I just like to apply that on the button of my nose, so right here. As you can see. Boom, just like that. And then a little bit on the bridge of my nose, and this will just help bring out the nose highlight even more. And I'm only applying it on the top of the bridge like that. And then I kind of use my finger just to spread it out. Now I'm going to go ahead and spray my face and set it completely with my Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. I'm just going to spray that all over my face. And then to finish this off, I'm going back in with my foundation brush and I'm just going to press in my spray just to make sure like there's no droplets on my face and that I really truly set it into my face. And overall, these are the final results. As you guys can see, we have a flawless highlight and contour. There are no harsh lines of demarcation between the contour and the highlight, and it just looks super flush and super together. As you can see, it's not a harsh contour or highlight, and it fits perfectly within my skin, my dark skin, my melanated skin at that. So if you are a melanated baddie, if you are a dark skinned mommy, if you are in the brown shade range, y'all, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more in-depth tutorials on how to do your hair and your makeup. I hope you guys truly enjoyed this tutorial and it helped someone. And if you know a friend that is struggling with their contour, just, you know, slide that video and just give it to them. Be like, hey girl, you know, I think this will really help, you know. No shade, no shade. We're all here to help a friend. So if you want to help a friend or even help yourself, go ahead and watch this video. Save this video for later. Keep on rewatching it until you finally get it. And yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and comment some brown hearts if you are at the ending of this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.